Oh, what is that?
Our podcast.
Well, that sounds wild.
Conservation Calls, an awesome Mohammed bin Zayed Species Conservation Fund initiative.
Yeah, but why are we really making this?
In this month's episode,
Dr. Iva, the superhero cave warrior.
It's about exploring the hidden world beneath our feet.
Troglazines, troglophiles, troglobites.
Stalagmites and stalactites.
Jeez Louise, those are big words.
Hello everyone, or as we say, Ahlan wa sahlan. It's your two favorite adventurers, Noor and Mira.
Before we get to today's awesome story, did you know that the Mohammed bin Zayed Species Conservation Fund has made a huge impact by successfully supporting over 3,000 projects across 174 countries, where they have done an amazing job discovering, reintroducing, and protecting over 1,900 species from extinction.
That's so cool. Today's story is truly unique. Are you ready? Let's go meet our explorers.
The name's Andrew, and I'm from the UK and the Philippines.
I'm Wanya from Pakistan.
Sabwana everyone, I'm Renaz, originally from South Africa.
Hi, my name is Adam and I'm from Egypt.
We are from Repton School Dubai, and you're listening to Conservation Calls.
What's up with the Spider-Man tune?
I've just been thinking about scaling walls and diving into caves and catching villains.
Is Spider-Man the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word caves?
No, also secret passages, hidden chambers, and water dripping. And Indiana Jones.
What about stalagmites and stalactites?
Absolutely. While everybody loves Indiana Jones, let's not forget about the amazing animals that call caves home, from insects and other invertebrates to fish and amphibians. These cave-dwelling creatures are super interesting. They can be divided into three main groups: troglazines, troglophiles, and troglobites.
Jeez Louise, those are big words. What do they mean?
So, all three terms come from Greek. Troglazine breaks down to troglos, which means cave, and xenos, meaning guest. So these guys are like cave visitors. They drop by mostly looking for food. Next up are troglophiles. Here, troglos still means cave, and phileo means love. So these creatures are the cave lovers. They hang out in caves but love to explore the outside world. And finally, we have troglobites. Again, troglos means cave, while bios means life. These animals are true cave dwellers. They spend their entire lives underground in the dark and damp, never venturing out. How cool is that?
How do you know so much about cave species?
It's a hobby, but I bet you didn't know that my all-time favorite animal is a cave beetle.
What? A beetle? Like John Lennon?
No, silly. I mean a beetle, like the cool little animal. Beetles are actually the biggest group in the animal kingdom, with more than 350,000 different beetle species identified so far. Besides, a beetle is also Dr. Iva Njunjic's favorite cave species.
Stop. Backtrack a bit. You casually name drop there Dr. Eva who? Who is she and how do you even know about her?
After all this time researching Mohammed bin Zayed Species Conservation Fund projects, this one really caught my eye, and I'm super keen to share it.
Ah, I thought you were just setting a scene. Now I'm curious. Let's delve in.
When you think of the coolest jobs ever, Dr. Eva's has to be at the top of the list. As a biospeleologist, she's explored over 300 caves in Europe and Asia. Plus, she's discovered 2 new species, one in 2016 and another in 2024.
Wow. What's a biospeleologist?
It's a fancy word for a cave biologist, but let's hear from Dr. Iva herself.
Hi, I'm Iva Njunjic, a cave biologist passionate about exploring the hidden world beneath our feet. My work focuses on discovering new species for science, but I'm also an evolutionary biologist, and I study how animals adapt and evolve in the unique conditions of subterranean environments. I'm committed to protecting caves and cave-adapted organisms, so I'm also a conservationist. I have been exploring caves for almost 20 years, and I'm still just as excited to enter an unexplored cave as I was at the start of my career as a cave biologist. But my favorite discovery so far is probably finding a new species of tiny cave beetle near the mountain where I grew up.
So she's basically the real Spider-Man, or Spider-Woman in this case. But I bet it'd be super creepy down there. I mean, coming face to face with a spider-like cave beetle, I'd be out of there faster than you can say bite.
Totally agree, Adam. They look super freaky scary. Was this awesome discovery made possible by the Mohammed bin Zayed Species Conservation Fund?
Not this one. Dr. Iva's grant with the fund is all about the stunning Komarnica Canyon in northwest Montenegro. It's surrounded by epic cliffs that tower 200 to 600 meters above the water.
Those caves must have been untouched for ages. Just imagine all the awesome animal life waiting to be discovered.
Yeah, it's such a bummer. This amazing ecosystem is in danger because there are big plans to build a huge hydropower dam that could flood the valley and their cave systems, which might push those cave species to go extinct, either locally or even globally. That's seriously concerning.
Oh no, what about the amazing species waiting to be discovered? What'll happen to them?
There are too many to focus on, but if you remember, earlier I mentioned beetles. Dr. Iva will focus on the cave beetles as part of this exploration.
Cave beetles that I'm studying are very beautiful and also super interesting. They're quite small, they are less than 1 centimeter long, and they're completely adapted to life in caves, and they cannot survive above ground. They are blind because they don't need eyes in a pitch dark environment of caves. They have no pigment because, pigment protects us from UV radiation and there is no sun coming into caves. They have very elongated legs and antennae, and they look very different in comparison to closely related species that live above ground. They're also quite mysterious, and there are still so many things we don't know about them. For example, we don't know much about their life cycle or how long they live. We know that they're saprophagous, and they're probably feeding on decomposing material on walls of caves. Because, in caves there is not much food, so it is quite a struggle to survive in this extreme environment. And these beetles are also very special because they adapted to survive in these unique environmental conditions where very few species can survive.
She sounds like one smart lady, but wow, how is she gonna pull this off? It sounds like a massive challenge ahead of her.
Not so fast, Andrew. Relax, catch your breath. Dr. Iva will tell you more on the other side of this.
While Andrew takes a breather, I bet there's something you didn't know about Dr. Iva.
I love exploring caves, and I generally also feel quite safe doing so. However, my job can sometimes be a bit dangerous, and actually the biggest danger in caves is rockfall, because sometimes it can happen that while you're hanging on the rope, person who is above you moves a rock, and that rock can fall and hurt somebody who is below them. Also, sometimes floods can happen. I've been in caves which were very narrow, so I would get sometimes a bit stuck and I would have to take off my helmet to unstuck my head. Also, just reaching the cave you want to explore can sometimes be physically really demanding, because caves are often located high up on the mountains or deep in the jungle, so you have to be also really good hiker just to reach the cave that you want to explore.
Back to the story, beauty in the brains. I just googled Dr. Iva. How did she get into conservation in the first place?
My fascination with caves began during my early childhood. Somewhere around the age of 13, I visited a popular tourist cave in my home country, and I was immediately drawn in. I still remember how disappointed I felt when our tour guide told us at the end of the trail only speleologists are allowed to go further. I didn't know exactly what a speleologist was, but from that moment on, I just knew I had to become one. Later, when I studied biology at the University of Belgrade, I took a speleology course, and exploring caves naturally led me to notice the unique organisms living there. That curiosity turned into a career in cave biology.
She's super qualified and has tons of experience. Definitely the perfect person to save the day.
But how will she do this?
We are fighting to save Komarnica Canyon through a combination of scientific research, public awareness campaigns, and advocacy. Our expeditions have revealed that this canyon is home to endemic and fragile species, many of which would be wiped out if the area is flooded. By documenting biodiversity and highlighting the ecological importance of Komarnica, we are providing evidence to support its protection. We are also working with local NGOs and international media to spread awareness, through articles, podcasts, and TV. So our goal is to reach broader audience. Collaborating with conservation organizations, scientists, and local communities, we aim to pressure policymakers to reconsider building a hydropower dam. And our goal is not just to stop one hydropower dam, but to establish a long-term protection for this unique ecosystem before it's too late.
That sounds like a great plan.
Awesome plan, but it's going to take a lot of hard work. But they've already had great success. They discovered new species that are totally fresh to science and new to Montenegro's fauna, plus uncovered 7 caves and pits in the area. Here's some good news. The environmental impact assessment study from the Montenegrin Electric Company has been rejected by the Environmental Protection Agency of Montenegro.
Way to go!
While this doesn't mean they'll halt the project entirely, we're definitely making it tougher for them to move forward.
Amazing! Let's help. We so have to start a petition to stop the hydropower dam development. I've already kicked things off and signed my name first on the list. Who's with me? Let's rally the troops.
I'm in.
Me too.
Awesome idea, guys, but not so fast. The impact should start closer to home in Montenegro. I'm sure Dr. Iva has an end goal in mind.
Our ultimate goal is that Komarnica Canyon becomes a part of Durmitor National Park and protected UNESCO site.
I really hope she gets it right. It sounds like a wonderful place for baby cave insects to thrive.
And grow old to tell their children, and they can tell their children that it's all thanks to Dr. Iva, the superhero cave warrior, Spider Woman.
Awesome. Thanks for joining this story and listening to my crazy beetle addiction.
That was amazing. We discovered a whole new hidden world in those caves filled with fascinating animals that call it home. Plus, learning about Dr. Iva's job is one of the coolest things I've ever heard. She is truly an inspiration. Now, let's rope everybody in for support.
I'm leaning that way as well.
Tune in for next time. We'll be back with another epic story. A special thanks to the Mohammed bin Zayed Species Conservation Fund for helping us make a more sustainable planet. Thanks for listening. Bye.